appear to agree. The sector seems immune from the global economic crisis, making some 60 billion euros annually. The European Parliament and NGOs, however, remain deeply worried about the use of child labour and trafficking on cocoa farms in West Africa. Easter is upon us, and that means chocolate, lots of it. Europeans love the stuff. The EU is the world's biggest consumer, but NGOs say there's a darker side to the multi-billion euro industry: child slavery. 10 years after the sector vowed to stamp out the practice, Oxfam says use of children in West Africa, where 70% of the world's cocoa comes from, is still widespread. It's estimated nearly 2 million children in Ghana and Ivory Coast work on chocolate plantations. 400,000 are under the age of 12. Last month, the European Parliament passed a resolution calling for a new international deal. But even the industry admits product certifiers like Fair Trade can't completely guarantee where all the chocolate has been sourced.
All these initiatives do not allow child labour. However, none of these initiatives can really guarantee that no child has been involved in the production of the cocoa.
Those representing the industry also say child labour in West Africa remains culturally deep-rooted, arguing only better education will change things.
If you want to become a good farmer, you also need to be an educated farmer. You need to know how to run a farm, so it's more than economics.
But many MEPs disagree. Unhappy with the status quo, they've urged the EU Commission to draw up plans for a system which would track the cocoa supply. To discuss the use of child labour in cocoa production, we are now joined by Marieke Poissonnier from Oxfam, Belgium. Welcome.
Thank you. In 2001, the chocolate industry signed a protocol to eliminate the worst form of child labour in the cocoa production. But according to American research, lots of action were not implemented. Is a broken promise?
Chocolate and cocoa companies promised to do this, but unfortunately we see that the investment in the problem has been way under the target that they set in 2001.
But the industry say to have spent about $75 million in projects for sustainability. Are you satisfied of this?
The projects they invest in is mainly about productivity, which is good because it raises more income for the farmer, but there are hardly any projects about increasing qualitative schooling for children, tackling extreme poverty amongst cocoa farmers.
We are talking about very poor countries. In these countries, for a child, it's quite normal, I will say, to help their father, to help the family, to raise money. What's the problem in this?
Well, indeed, you have children who work with their father, who learn how to harvest the cocoa, and there's no problem with that. What the real problem is child labor. That's kind of labor that interferes with the schooling of children, and it is also harmful for the health.
However, even when we are talking about fair trade labor, we cannot guarantee to consumers that any child has not been involved in the production of cocoa. We need to improve the control in the field.
If you take fair trade, in 2009 there was a control in West Africa on a Ghanaian farm, and they found incidents of forms of child labor, and so the entire cooperative of farmers was suspended from fair trade, and they put in place remediative actions so to make sure that children could go to school. So it is true that there are still cases, but with the certification scheme, there is a control in place.
The European Parliament just passed a resolution to raise this problem, to fight against child labour. Is it enough for you?
It's very good that they address the producing countries, that they look at themselves as consuming countries, but I think we really need to look at the companies as well. They made a promise more than 10 years ago. We're still waiting for that promise to be met, so we cannot wait for another 10 years. I can't wait, but especially not the children in Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana.